Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to the 5th Spotlight webinar in the series Exemplary ECCE Practices, where we will be talking to Ms. Latha Madhusudhan, the founder of Prakriti, Waldorf Kindergarten, and Advay Shale. I'm Mahalakshmi, the Executive Committee member of AECED Mysore. Before we begin today's session, let me tell you a little about AECED. Rishma, can I have your screen? Thank you. The Association for Early Childhood Education and Development at the national level was earlier the Indian Association for Preschool Education, better known as IAPE. Can I have the next slide, please? Yeah, thank you. IAPE was established in 1964 and it was started in New Delhi in Lady Irwin College in the Department of Child Development in the presence of the first Prime Minister. And IAPE aimed to empower all people, connect all people who are interested in the early child. And there were many seminars, many conferences that happened from IAPE. In 2009, IAPE got a new avatar and was renamed as AECED. The role of IAPE was invited by the government to be on various committees related to child welfare, ICDS, Anganwadis and Balwadis. And the same thing is being carried on by AECED too. Can I have the next slide, please? So AECED works both at the state level and at the national level. And in the national level, it was part of the nationwide group to give a feedback on the draft of the NEP. The national office is STISS in Mumbai. And the role of AECED national offices, advocacy on national policies, having conferences and seminars, having webinars for parents, providing teacher resources, acknowledging good practices and practitioners, networking with organizations working in the field of ECD, and also opening of new branches. We are doing that now. So please reach out to us to start a branch in your city. So the support that National gives the branches is consultancy, refresher courses, networking with the ECD people, PD sessions and workshops for early years educators, parent connect workshops, and information about the latest ECE practices all across the world. Can I have the next slide? We also bring out newsletters. The Mumbai branch has brought out e-newsletters, which you can find it on the website. And we invite you to share any good practices that you have evolved in your school. AECED is also affiliated to Network for Information on Parenting, which is set up by Balamandir Research Foundation in Chennai. They enable schools to conduct parenting programs in their own schools. Learning to Play Calendar, a pictorial tool, was developed by Hicks Delcris Center, Toronto, Canada, which was adapted to Indian conditions. So if you need this, please contact our national office. Next, please. The membership details are there on the website. So please have a look at it and enroll your institution, or you can also go in for individual membership. This is the most exciting thing we've all been waiting for. The Early Years Virtual World Conference is the first virtual conference that we would be hosting from 2nd to 4th June. And it's 3 days of inspiring speakers, presenting research papers and parallel workshops by professionals, ECA professionals in India and abroad. The registration fees, you have individual for members and non-members and international participants. There's another special thing. If you participate in a group, you get 50% discount. So if it's 1,000 rupees for individual, you have to pay 500. You can contact the website. Look at the website or contact the office for further details. Come join us. Yes, join the bandwagon. All interested EC professionals, please do. Get in touch with us, become part of us. Let us take this forward. Thank you. Yes, let me welcome our special person for today, Ms. Latha Madhusudhan. It's a pleasure having you here, Latha, to share your journey and experiences and enable us to know more about the underlying philosophy of Waldorf schools. All of us at AECED sincerely appreciate that you've joined us for today's session from Austin, Texas, at an unearthly hour of 4 a.m. and in this cold winter too. Thank you so much for that. Let me tell you who Latha is. Latha has a postgraduate degree in psychology, combined with B.Ed, diploma in Montessori education, and has acquired certifications for various fields in Waldorf education. She started her career as a teacher in the year 1990 and has worked abroad and in India. She has continued in the field of education as a teacher, educational consultant, and a teacher trainer. Her quest for an alternate holistic education that emphasized learning through head, heart, and hands started her journey into Waldorf education and Anthroposophy, the philosophy of Dr. Rudolf Steiner, in 2006. Her immense love for children and her belief that a transformed education system based on the Waldorf methodology is the need of our times led to the founding of Prakriti, a Waldorf kindergarten, in the year 2009, continuing successfully till date. In 2015, she also co-founded a school called Advay Shale, a Waldorf grade school in Bangalore. She and a few colleagues have founded Sadhana, an association of Waldorf kindergartens in India under the umbrella of the International Association for Steiner Waldorf Early Childhood Education. Latha's dream of reaching out to as many children as possible from various strata of Indian society while creating awareness amongst parents on the need for holistic development is beginning to bear fruit. This is evident by the steady growth of her institutions and a growing community of like-minded enthusiasts. We welcome you, Latha.
Greetings and namaste to all of you present here. I'm so honored to be present among so many of my colleagues who serve young children of today in their own special way. I would also like to state that some of my teachers and Prakriti team are present along with me. A quick hello, Lena Gokhale, who has been a teacher with Prakriti since we founded in 2009.
Good evening, everyone, and I'm extremely privileged to be here today. Thank you, AECD, and thank you so much, Latha ma'am, for this opportunity.
Welcome.
Welcome, Lena. Radhika, and I must add that Radhika is very unique to Waldorf education and Prakriti because even before she got married, she would be at the gates of Prakriti with her older sister, and she knew that her child will have Waldorf education, and she is here not only with her child in the school, but also joined us as a teacher. Thank you, Radhika, for being part of Prakriti's journey.
Thank you, Latha ma'am, for your kind words. And hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining. I feel very honored and privileged to be a part of this event. Thank you.
I also would like to introduce both Rupal and Vatsala, who are really dear parents whose children have journeyed through Waldorf education, are still continuing. They, since the pandemic, has been part of the Prakriti team and really been a great support to Prakriti and the parent community there. Rupal and Vatsala.
Welcome. both of you. Good to have you all here, the Prakriti family. Thanks for bringing them along, Latha. It would be interesting if you could tell us what made you start a Waldorf preschool and throw some light on its philosophy.
Uh, I would say that all young children of today is expected to be a young adult. And as a teacher, I felt the need to change the landscape of preschool education, to change the 3 hours of reading, writing, and arithmetic to more of a life learning. Um, I also wanted to bring back to life what non-urban children in India are really missing. So, as a teacher, when I had this opportunity, I thought I needed to be the change. And Waldorf is actually an old method, it's tried and tested, and that's how I started Prakriti. Goodness, beauty, and truth are the main tenets of Waldorf education. Very simple yet profound. Anthroposophy, a philosophy by Dr. Rudolf Steiner, it draws and connects me as an individual to the roots of our ancient Indian culture. So Steiner's education is very holistic, it's very practical, it is adapted to our context, our culture, and a very, very creative educational curriculum. So it suited the 21st century child, and that's what brought me into anthroposophy, and that's how Prakriti was born.
Thank you, Latha. Could you elaborate on the meaning of anthroposophy? It's something new for me, at least.
It is a philosophy which is like a path of knowledge, of spiritual research. And in literal terms, anthro means man, and Sophia means wisdom. So, literally put together, it is speaking or studying the wisdom of man. And this becomes a very important part of world of education, that every teacher and even parents have to go through child development and understand the child in and out very intrinsically.
Sounds very idealistic. Nice. Is it easy to convince parents and make them understand what you're doing, Latha? I've heard that you do not introduce formal writing till they are 6, because today people think the minute a child joins school, he or she has to be introduced to the alphabet. A child of 3.5 has to know numbers up to 50 or 100. So pre-primary is becoming a downward extension of the primary school. In fact, IAP was very strong. We opposed that a lot even in those years of the primary school, and many schools say the parents want us to teach this. So can you throw some light on this, please? How do you speak to your parents? How do you convince them that you can go slow?
Yeah, you're right. In world of education, Mahalakshmi, the formal reading and writing begins only at the age of 6, and that is grade 1. So in the kindergarten, before when I started as a teacher, and we have always known that the kindergarten is all about just pre-reading and pre-writing skills. So it is not easy to convince parents, especially parents of this younger generation of today. Hence, my approach has been to invite them to hear all about and the alternative method of education that is available to them, to hear the philosophy, and then say that I, as an educationist, believe that this is good for your child. Come and join me in this journey. So, I strongly always recommend it. We have at least 3 interviews with the parents before they are convinced and they want to come into this journey. And it is a two-way process, just like how parents shop for preschools and philosophy. These days, parents are very well educated about what they want for their child. And in that process, the school also has a choice to choose the parents who will be in the journey along with us. This is so because anthroposophy just doesn't stop at the school, it extends into the home. It's a way of life. And so we also need to pick our parents, and that's how the journey begins. Yeah.
Very nice. So maybe can you tell us something more about the vision and philosophy of Prakriti?
Like I said, Prakriti follows the Rudolf Steiner methodology. It's also called world of education. The philosophy is Anthroposophy, and the vision of Prakriti has always been to nurture and to retain the spirit of childhood, to make childhood joyous, happy, and healthy, and to provide an environment in the urban India to connect with nature. It is also the vision of Prakriti to have the 21st century child a different kind of 3 R's other than reading, writing, and arithmetic. And our 3 R's in most Waldorf schools would be reverence, rhythm, and repetition. So our mission has been to educate the whole child and let children be children, and that's what they are good at.
Yes, thank you for that. Montessori is a familiar word to many, isn't it? Even, I've heard many parents come and say, the Montessori school, they've asked me, when I was a principal also. So they know that. But I'm not sure how many have heard of Waldorf Steiner. Could you tell us what makes a Waldorf school and what do you do differently?
Here, I would like to move on to a PPT so that the visuals are there for all of you to see. And as we start the visual, I will explain to you more about what we do at Prakriti. So Prakriti started in the year 2009. And there, what happened is in 2009, we started as a new school. We founded the school, decided that we would go with world of education, and that's how we began. Section 2, please. It is simple yet profound. So what happens here is we have very few toys. The environment is very, very simple. And the toys are all natural materials. It is made of wood, or we don't use plastics at all. And the less the clutter in the environment, the more the child can play freely. And play being an important aspect, we believe in keeping the space very, very simple. Here, the old meets new. You can see that the children are playing here with dupatta. These are open-ended materials that we can give the children. The toys that we give them are all mostly natural, like I already said. You can see them playing with bark of tools, of tree stumps. The child is trying to replicate and through imitation, learning the stories and trying to imitate it in play. The dolls that you see there are hand knitted. All of these toys and dolls are sewn together and put together by the school with the parents' help and all the teachers. We do this, and we go back to the source of sensory exploration with only handmade toys. That's where the old meets new. Like I said, the 3 R's are all about reverence, rhythm, and repetition. The reverence begins with the inner greeting the inner child. It is just not reverence about not only about the greeting. Mainly, it's about greeting the inner individual being of the child, and that we proceed to take on in reverence to the environment, reverence to the people around. So they learn through imitation, and when they see us speaking in a soft tone to them, to the maids around, to the van driver, these are all in ways in which reverence is built. And when reverence is built, we build love for the community, love for the society and love for the world and for the environment mainly. Next slide. So the reverence also begins with the inner being, right? And here is a special birthday celebration. Now, how do we make this? Is the reverence for the child is through bringing or making the story of the child. Every child has their own story and the reason they are born. This is what we do for their birthday. We have a story for adopted children. We have a story for single parents, children. So we make it special by making them the king or the queen of that day. And the parents come according to their customs. They do an aarti or whatever they do at home. In place of cutting the cake, we have replaced it with homemade sweets that are distributed to the school. So reverence is also brought by revering the child itself. And the other picture you see is that of a nature table. So nature table is something that you will find as soon as you enter the school. It reflects the season of the year or the rhythm that the school is following. And here you have always seen that children, when they come to school, they hop and skip, pick up a pebble, pick up a stick. And what do we do with them? So we can't just take it out of their hands and throw it. And here is the nature table where they will say, on the way I picked a flower. Here it is. So come, let's put it on the nature table. And festival. So we are showing you a simple Krishna. This is just made out of a knotted doll or with a cloth. And they know that Janmashtami is coming, and we bring in the 5 elements of earth, water, fire, mineral kingdom into the table. And they know with reverence that this is it. So most Waldorf schools will have this, and at Prakriti, this is a very important aspect. Reverence begins in nature. Next slide. Repetition. So children thrive on repetition. The more we repeat things to them, the more they learn. And you must have seen that many toddlers love the same story. They go back and back until they have mastered it. So everything is about repetition. So giving them a repetition is not just about repeating one story or something, but also security through the activities that come. They feel very secure when something is repeated. So this kind of security comes through repetition. So in the school, we do have sand play, water play, running, skipping, jumping, open environment. So repetition builds memory, it builds cognition, it helps strengthen the process. So the focus here is mainly first developing their physical skills and then the other skills of socio-emotional development, aesthetic skills, and the rest follow. Next slide, please. Rhythm. Rhythm is a very, very important aspect of Waldorf education, and children thrive on rhythm. The rhythm that we build now is going to be a habit for a lifetime. Anything that begins with a rhythm has a breathing in and a breathing out. So rhythm doesn't mean it's a routine. This breathing in and breathing out is very, very important for the children. So here you're seeing the teacher having a circle time with them. And here in the circle time, we have a macro rhythm, not only in the circle time, generally in rhythm, we have a macro rhythm and a micro rhythm. The macro rhythm involves the annual rhythm, the monthly rhythm, the weekly rhythm, and the daily rhythm. And in the daily rhythm, the children know after play, we have a massage, we drink water, we go to the toilet, and we are going to be ready for circle time. After circle time comes this. So this again builds routine and security for the child, makes them very healthy. So the micro rhythm here would be the fast moving songs, the standing songs, sitting down songs, we singing aloud and then softly singing. All of these are micro rhythms which are built, a lot of movement and then stillness. So we alternate with that, and that is how the rhythm is built. So we take you on to nurturing the rhythms of life. The rhythms of life is all about sharing, caring, eating, life sense. So Steiner talks about 12 senses, not just the 5 senses. And among the 12 senses, the most important also is about the sense of touch, of course, and followed by the sense of life. So the children need to know how much they can eat, what they need to eat, eating independently. All of these are very, very important for children. So how do we do this? This is a very exemplary practice in Prakriti. One parent brings food, sends cooked food, home cooked food for say about 20 children, depending on how many children we have, one or two parents bringing in. They have their turn once or twice a month, and the rhythm extends to what they have to cook on a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, or the weekly rhythm, even for food. So the children identify the days of the week by saying, oh, today is Rajma Day. So we know on a Thursday it's Rajma Day. So the sensorial aspect is also built. We nourish the child. That day, the child calls it my special day. And then we thank the child, we thank the parents, we ask the child to serve the food, and they enjoy sharing. The teachers also eat with the children. So it is a nice little gathering. And the day that the child's mother has made, you should see it. It's so amazing. He goes around telling everyone, you have to finish. We all cooked for you. So you have to finish this food. And they are also honest. They go back and tell the parents, okay, today you put too much kara in the food. I could not eat. And the mother feels like, oh, they run there and tell the parent, oh, the food was excellent, yummy food. Thank you. So building a relationship with food comes by tasting all kinds of food, and it is best done in early childhood education. So here is where they are having lunch, and this is also another exemplary practice is them carrying a seasonal fruit and dropping it in the fruit basket in the morning, and in the mid-morning we cut the fruits and dress it up aesthetically, present it to the children in a nice way, and everybody has a bowl of fruits. So the habit forming years, we give them very nutritious and nourishing food, and the parents are really happy that the children are able to now eat on their own independently. Next slide, please. Here we have the rhythm of life, sleep and nutrition. So we do have a lot of parent talks on sleep, the number of hours of sleep that is needed, how the preparation for the sleep, etc. And you see the children are making dosa here. And this is exciting because we go back to the source. We actually ask them to prepare the batter, grinding in the stone, because that's thrilling for them today. In these days, they don't see that happening at all. And when we made this dosa, it was like special. We also have chapati day, we make ragi dosa. So not only do we connect them to the cultural food, and because Bangalore is cosmopolitan, they get to taste different kinds of food. And when they see it from the process, they never say no to food. Next slide, please. Rhythm of life and movement is also very, very important. You see the child here trying very hard to, after the lunch, to fold this huge, large mat. And he is so focused in saying corner to corner, the corner meets the corner, and here we fold. So we teach them a rhyme, and that's what he says, and folds the cloth it is a process which gradually flows in as a transition, and folding cloth is a very, very meditative activity. So we bring in not only folding cloth, all kinds of domestic chores, which the child learns and becomes independent. Movement is a very important part of Waldorf education. We know movement leads to motor skills developing, language skills developing, good speech happening, and the body at this age needs to have a lot of movement. So the concentration, as I said, is in the physical development. And by the age of 5, the child is able to do this very boldly, and it shows us that he's then ready for abstract learning. Next slide. The rhythm of life also includes the rhythm of art. The painting that you see them doing there is called wet on wet. Forms do not come in very young children. The forms arises only after the age of 5. Most of you must know that. And so the connection here is to the colors that unfold. So we give them primary colors, start with one color, and they paint on a wet paper, which makes it very flowy and soft and suits the inner being of the child. And when they do this, the colors mix. And from the primary colors, automatically the secondary colors evolve. And you should see the thrill on the faces of these children when they say, it's like I created the green from the blue and the yellow. And it's like it never existed, and it's for the first time come on his paper. And that joy is what we love to see. The other picture you see here is they're making a raft with bamboo sticks, which they sand, and this is a monsoon rhythm that they are going through. So when they see it being made from scratch, they have built this raft. After doing this, we have just tied it with a string and put the ice cream stick. They put a sail there, and then they float it in a tub of water. So it beautifully involves everything that they need to know. There is mathematics, there is science. We don't have to say today is a concept for floating and sinking, because they already are seeing it in a playway, experiential manner. So, and the amount of sensorial impressions that go into working with wood is tremendous. So this is how the rhythm of art unfolds in Prakriti. Play. So play is a very, very important aspect. And I called it threefold because Steiner talks about thinking, feeling, and willing as aspects to unfold in every human being. The children are in this willing part, wanting to do so many things. When play is given to them, indoor or outdoor, when there is free play, they are able to come out and use their imagination quite a bit. So here they are, typically the boys, the girls also join them. There is no gender bias these days. They are building a cloth machine, they claimed, with all the wood that is and the planks that are provided. They turn the tables upside down, and each year I see something new evolving in these children. And there are a group of children sitting and working with their hands. We talked about the 3 H's. So working with the hands leads to loving what they do through their heart, the feeling aspect, and that leads them to thinking. So they do finger knitting, sewing, all purposeful activities. And the other picture shows you play in a rainy season. Now, this is really thrilling for us. Everybody sings rain, rain, go away. But in Prakriti, we say rain, please keep coming, because we wear our raincoats and don't miss our nature walks in the rain. And here they were seen playing in the puddle. And first they started just playing like young children do, jumping and screaming. And after a point, because they were let free, they said, now from this puddle, let me make a river, and I want the river to flow somewhere else, to make a second puddle so more children can jump in the puddle. And we found them, they were digging, they made that passage that you can see. So thinking, feeling, willing, all of it came in here, and plenty of space for imagination and scientific thinking. So children, when they are not cluttered in the mind with the 3 R's of reading, writing, and arithmetic, are able to freely enjoy their childhood like this. Next slide, please. Healing through education. So Steiner education is very, very healing. And we see this because you see this group of children. Now, this girl was saying that she needs to climb up the coconut tree and pick out the coconuts. Of course, she's not being able to do that, and that she's going to discover soon. But the minute she said that, this whole group of peers have literally lifted her, helped her to climb the tree. So the sharing, the helping each other, the bonding, everything has happened in this one section. And also the movement here, just the sense of balance is very, very important for as a pre-reading and writing skill. This is the child walking, and the balance also leads to clear speech. So the clarity in speech language building that comes is really excellent when they see movement like this. So we also have healing in the form of massages. Radhika, next slide, please. After their free play in the morning, we call the children inside. They have had a lot of breathing out. They've been screaming, playing, and a lot of excitement. Before any learning can happen, we need to bring them into their bodies and calm the inner child. So we use a little bit of coconut oil, wash their hands in a tub, wipe it dry, coconut oil or essential oil, and we just give them a circular massage with a gentle touch. The sense of touch is so important, and this little thing, we hardly do it for a minute per child, and they are then ready. So they do this and move on to the carpet for circle time, and those who are waiting are served herbal tea, especially in Bangalore, the winter wet times. The children are all coughing, so we have herbal tea given to them. In summer, it could be a lemon juice or some cooling drink, just a sip, so that they are ready for the learning. When the body is nourished, learning happens very quickly. So that 15 minutes of circle time is intense learning. Nobody is distracted. So it is quality versus quantity. So what we do in that, we take the essence out in that 15 minutes. So here is healing through touch. So next slide, Radhika. Healing also can happen through nature. So how do they learn about the goodness of the world, the beauty of the world around them? They need to explore the world. So yes, we go to picnics, we go to parks, this is a visit to the Goshala. And with children, when they learn through imitation, urban children especially, oh, I can't touch. They even say bacteria will come into my hands. I mean, young children, they say all this, and now of course, this is pre-COVID times. So we need to see how this unfolds now. So here we are feeding the cows. They had a very experiential learning about not only the cows, about how people work, where the milk comes from as a source, the reverence to the cow, the reverence to the people who are doing these odd jobs for them. So the urban children's experience of all these becomes very, very important here. So the parents also help us in reaching these places. Healing through rhythm also is about celebration of festivals. So there you see the festival of Sankranti is a very, very important aspect in Karnataka, and we make the pongal with all the children in the traditional. I'm sorry, the picture is not very clear. We make the pongal in a pot in traditionally building wood fire. So we actually collect wood, um, build a fire along with them, and in the pot is where we make pongal. The other picture you see of the traditional way of churning butter. Uh, Janmashtami is something that all children, irrespective of religion, they connect, because Krishna is like them. And here they are making butter, and we then use the butter, send home the butter with the children in little mud pots. We put it on bread and make our own sandwiches. So this is very, very exciting for them to churn butter in this traditional way. The parent community are very excited about any festival, and they all participate in the school festivals. Here you see the parents doing a Pinnal Kolata. We want to bring back all these traditions. Dashera or Navaratri is very important festival in Karnataka, and the parents are very enthusiastic, and they come every day in the mornings, mothers and fathers too, believe me, to do this complicated dance. It's generally done with flowers, but we thought we will use dupattas instead of flowers. And they do this Pinal Kolata, and the children just, if a parent doesn't participate, the children cry until the parent comes home. So they comes and participate. Why didn't you dance in my school? You have to dance in my school, is what they start, and they bring their parents into the school. So after the children's performance, this is a yearly rhythm that we have, that the parents do the dancing. And in Karnataka, we have this Haldi Kumkum and Shundal, which we give them. All that is done in the school. The other picture is about Eid. We generally have a parent, if we have a parent from the Islam community, so they come and do a celebration with us. We put mehndi. Of course, it's also an Indian tradition, Diwali. Everywhere you can use mehndi. Here it is children with mehndi for Eid celebration. Next slide. The community connect. This is so important. This is Christmas celebration. So generally, Christmas is all about the Christmas tree and Santa Claus. But in Prakriti, we also make Christmas beautiful by making this spiral. Here, each parent takes the candle, takes the child, walks into the spiral, go inside, lights their candle, makes their wish, and come out of the spiral. So the spiral is a very, very important thing about whatever you have seen and gathered outside through the year. You take it in, and then what is inside, you share it out. So there is this in and out, and the spiral is a universal symbol in the cosmos. So this happens very, very beautifully in the school. And they take back this special wish with Christmas and New Year around the corner. The community connect for festivals becomes a very, very important aspect. So
It's very
this,
beautiful, Latha.
thank you,
It's
Mahalakshmi.
very nice.
Next slide, please. So it also extends to parent education. So parent education is not just about giving gyan on what Waldorf philosophy is and child development. It also includes practical skills. If the parents or adults around the children can use their hands, then it is so much easier for the child through imitation to see what's happening in the house. So here are parents and the community, I must say, doesn't stop only with the teachers and the school. That's actually my husband, who is teaching the parents how to make their own knitting needles. So when they make their own knitting needles, there is an eagerness to go and knit, learn to knit. And they help us with dolls. So we keep giving these knitted dolls and crochet dolls to the children, and doll making, any purposeful thing, their little beanies that they wear during the winter, all of these using their hands is an extension of the parent. So craft circle, parent craft circle is something so important in our school. And this continued throughout the year. And next slide, please. The community connect. When we say the school is an extension of the home, here is an example. That we were at a farm, and the children, the rest time, the rhythm is very important. And here, after playing for such a long time and after lunch, we said, let's all rest. And then they talked about how their mothers would sleep with them or their fathers would sleep with them. And here they are with aunties who can be mothers too to them. So this is how the community connect and the rapport is built with the children. Yeah, this was again pre-COVID days. Next slide, please. So the COVID times, it has been a really testing pandemic for every family throughout the world. And that was also the case in Prakriti. We did send out community parent kits, and parents took this home. They built a little nature table, took the rhythm to the child, and brought exemplary practices of Prakriti instead of the school into the home. And these were the creations that we got out of the children through the kit that we sent. So we did not go online. The children didn't have to sit in front of the computer. But yes, to be honest, we did use media. That was in the form of podcasts where we would send our story and the song, and we would connect with the parents, do their rhythms, and this is how it happened during the pandemic. Next slide, Radhika. Here are some samples of children trying to get their children to work, parents trying to get their children to work at home, and the results were really amazing. They could engage the child in creative activities and artistic activities throughout the COVID times. Yeah. So I should also say we engaged the adults in something called Prakriti Prasaran, where we would invite the parents to join us on Zoom call. And it was a platform where each of the families shared what difficulty they were facing during the COVID time. So when all of us would talk about it and share that this is what I tried, you try this. So each parent would share, and how they balance the household. And it's been a long time. And the first year, when there was absolutely no school, was a little difficult. After that, we could at least do some school partially. But yes, COVID times. And I must say, I really am in gratitude to all the parents for holding me through the COVID crisis, and helping me come out through my personal crisis. And the community building has had, it really showed me in practical life how and what it is. Here you are seeing the graduation ceremony. We call it the Rainbow Bridge ceremony. What do the children do here? They graduate into the world. They are ready now for abstract learning. Each of them, we tell them, you are the king or the queen of yourself. And here you have to enter you have to leave this kingdom and enter the world right now. So we do that by walking in and out of the spiral, helping them cross the hurdles, giving them a story that life is not a bed of roses. You will have hurdles, but it will come up because you have some guiding light with you. And the grade 1 teacher comes here and receives her children with reverence, with love, and leads them. So it's also like, cutting unborn, cutting the bond or tie knot. The bond remains, but literally cutting the ties, because for us it's a really hard moment when children have spent almost 3 to 4 years with you in school and they are all going away. And this actually is a very touching ceremony when we say goodbye. Here are my really loved ones who I'm handing over to you. Please take over. So the grade 1 teacher also ceremoniously sees this and takes this as a responsibility. They literally promise us, don't worry, we'll look after your babies. And that is really moving for us. So that is the graduation ceremony, a very significant crossover from the kingdom of childhood into the next developmental phase of the child. Next
I
slide.
love this also, Latha. It looks so very beautiful and calming and very beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. So learning really begins slowly in Waldorf school, but generally it races ahead of time in terms of life's learning. It catches up with academics too. So I would like to end by a quote by Rudolf Steiner: "Receive the children in reverence, educate them in love, send them forth in freedom." By Rudolf Steiner. So. This quote really sums up what Waldorf early childhood education is all about, and education other times. So goodness, beauty, and truth is held up throughout the learning years of the child.
Very beautiful. I mean, it was so nice to see like every little act that you all do there has some meaning, has some, some significance. What are the core outcomes you want or you want to work towards at the end of preschool?
For the readiness is the tool for learning, and body is the tool that is used for learning. And it is a very important tool for education. They must learn with their body and not with their head. So that is one of the major outcomes. Of course, all the motor skills and the cognitive aspects are all covered, and children then graduate with very high language skills, very well developed life sense, like you saw in the rhythms. Their cognitive skills are high because imagination, when the children play, that leads to a healthy, strong imagination. We call it also the birth of the eye. And here, that is what builds cognition in children. And aesthetic skills like setting up the nature table or decorating their food plate is so very important, and the beauty unfolds. It is a stepping stone to education. Motor skills, gross, fine motor, all of that, just by play, they practice through play their motor skills, their life which unfolds. And they are mainly, once they graduate from a school like ours, they are armed with enthusiasm to learn. So what they have learned here is learn how to learn. And learning begins really slowly, but it really catches up with academics also, uh, in whatever standards you may want to measure it against.
Yeah, so maybe you would like to also share how these children moved. You said they were received for the first grade teacher. So what happens in your, bigger school at Vaishale?
Yeah, I will play you a short video of Advaya Shale. I am just sharing screen. So when we began our journey, it was purely out of the need to support and bring Waldorf education to everybody around us. The children in the kindergarten needed a school, and here is Advaya Shale.
Waldorf school, of finding Waldorf education, is not just a matter of convenience and shopping around for schools or types of education. Waldorf education is a way of life. It's a value system, and it's something that a lot of us have been searching for as parents. As a parent and a founding member of Advaya Shale, I can say just one thing, that once you get on this path, there's really no turning back. One of the popular misconceptions about Waldorf systems of education is that it's very simple, it's for children who are not good for academics, and also that it's all about singing, dancing, and drawing. The truth, however, is very different. Our children are very high striving individuals, children who are good at academics, and I wouldn't say just good, but they are excelling at academics. The difference being they're also excelling in music, they're also excelling in art, handwork, and sports. A Waldorf child's book speaks the loudest and reiterates what I've just said. In a Waldorf child's notebook, you will find long, complicated prose. You will find very complex equations, all of it solved very clearly, understood very deeply. But what you will also find is a lot of beauty. There's a lot of artwork that goes into every child's notebook, thereby bringing in his individual personality, his individual likes and dislikes. Every notebook of a child, even if they are in the same grade, are highly distinct from each other. This is where we at Advaya Shale and schools all across, Waldorf schools all across the world, act is that we have completed a task with a deep understanding and a sense of deep aesthetics.
As part of the Advaya team, we have done this journey for the past 5 years, and we want to continue this for another 5 years, and we need your support.
Waldorf education can be very beautifully adapted to bring in the cultural and traditional values of India and the place or the region where the children are growing. We bring in the Waldorf philosophy through intrinsic training for the teachers who join us. A group of dedicated teachers make the pedagogy come alive in the classroom. They move, they sing, they dance, and they teach academics in a well-rounded manner. Yeah.
Yeah, Latha. You done with the video?
Yes, that was part of
Thank
a bit of an intro about what happens after Prakriti.
Thank you. And it's so nice that your parents have joined you, know, that is something very, very heartening.
That's true.
So can I go ahead? Yeah. What are the significant challenges that you've meaningfully overcome during this pandemic? I think you did tell us that you did not go online and, you know, parents, you sent kids home. But besides that, can you just tell us something else that you all did at Prakriti?
So this is where I think I will leave it to the parents to tell us what they have done. They have been a huge support in pandemic. So over to you, Vatsala and Rupal.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Rupal, and I have Vatsala also here with me. We're both Prakriti parents for a while now. In the pandemic, one of the amazing things that happened was that as a community, we connected almost immediately to reach out and see. Latha spoke about it in her presentation, Prakriti Prasaran. We immediately connected and began to see how we were doing as families with each other. People who were living next to each other or could make smaller groups started connecting with each other, enabled by Prakriti. We then started, making kits to send to the children home. As a community, I mean, Waldorf, of course, says we don't go online. Prakriti says we don't go online. And as a community, we supported that all the way. We said, yes, we fully agree. And then we jointly came up with innovative solutions to send kits, home to the children. So the parents would be coached or groomed a little in terms of how the rhythms could be carried on, what kind of activities could be done at home. And every single bit of material, every single bit of craft material that was needed, everything that was needed were put together. I'll let Vatsala speak a little bit about how we put together the podcast and things like that.
So we had stories for every rhythm, every season. We had songs, circle time, and sometimes because we had a special time. So I remember Latha ma'am writing special stories for kids to come over that fear. And these stories were not only helpful for kids, but also parents. And we put together all these stories and songs in a podcast form so that there is also a rhythm and a similarity in every story. It was not, we won't just send a story, but we started it all together, one platform under Prakriti, where we built this these stories and songs. And also one very important thing was that these are all the things in terms of sending kit, but how the parent community came, many people's businesses shut down, people's work shut down, and running the school economically was also a challenge. And the most beautiful part was when parents came together and they said, okay, I'm going to fill up for you right now. Let's pay whatever we have to pay for the year right now, so that the school runs, the system runs, and when your turn comes and when your situation becomes okay, you pay. So that's the trust and togetherness which is a gift to us.
Thank you for sharing. I think there's something that I heard Latha mentioning earlier. You have a parent who's selected as, I forget what they call the main person.
School mother.
Huh. So I think you can talk about that too, because that was something very beautiful.
Yeah, that's something very beautiful. Every year we have one mother of the entire school. We also had one school father once. So there's one person from the parent community who is one person between the parents and the school, who works with school for parents and with parents for school. Because every day we send food to school, and school mother coordinates beautifully with all parents. We are very careful about what goes in the plate. We have to stick to the weekly rhythm of food, and school mother makes sure that these things are happening properly. Yeah, Rupal, over to you.
So the school mother is the single point of contact between the parent community and the school community. What she does is she coordinates for every single thing, whether it's a festival that's coming up, preparations to be made for the annual fair, or it's the daily meals. Some of the school mothers have been amazing and have gone on to graduate all of us to conscious cooking classes, making sure that some of these beautiful practices that were being done at Prakriti were taken back into the homes of the parents. Yeah. So I'm one such parent who switched from eating white polished rice and a lot of other things to local rice variants, unpolished foods and things like that. So the school mother does this really important role of bridging between the parent community and the school community, and in turn translating some of these wonderful practices of excellence into the homes.
And while doing that, she makes sure that Latha, Leena and other teachers are equally accessible to parents. So she's just a bridge, not between the teachers and the community. So she does it in a very balanced way.
It's nice. And I think they also help if a teacher is on leave or the ayah and the bus is not there or something, they step in. And thank you. That's so beautiful. Thank you, both of you, for sharing giving your inputs too. It makes it all the more special. Latha, this is something, how do you plan to maximize the sustainability of these practices? I mean, you're doing so many beautiful things. So how do you ensure that it continues?
So in terms of financial sustainability, Mahalakshmi, Waldorf schools just survive. We do not thrive. But the choice is about a good parent community over a few extra cash. So, but then as a community, we are very, very self-sufficient. Like you heard the parents, they even substitute for the teachers or come in and help us decorate the school for any festival. And so the participation is really high. And our parents are ready to be part of the child's school life. Similarly, when I said about Advaya Shale, when they knew that they have to continue this education, people who came on board are the parents from my school and another colleague school in Bangalore. So that's how Advaya Shalai was born, and it's run by the parent community. So in that way, it is a very exemplary thing. Like I again say, if you want change, you have to be the change. So when they wanted to embrace something new, a holistic education, and saw the benefits, this community comes up and stands there in front. So education is not separated from life. It is way of life. So when parents and the teachers or educationists work together for the child in between, that's how there is progress in the system. So the whole paradigm shift has happened through world of education and through a kindergarten like Prakriti. So the child is the center where we believe that destiny brought us together. And that's how we work in unison for the young child.
Thank you. And I can also see that most of what NEP advocates is there happening there at your school, learning through play, having a bridge, before the grade 1, before they go to grade 1, a preparatory stage. That is nice.
Yes.
I'm so happy about it.
So we do not have to consciously make too much of change because of the NEC policy now, because we've already been there. And I'm very glad. I wish most schools will adopt it also. The one thing I want to also say is Sadhana, the Indian Waldorf Kindergarten Association, also holds foundation courses for parents and teachers. It's also important for parents to know what they are getting into and what developmental changes that are happening, especially in today's children and in this pandemic world. It gives them a bit of a strength. So that's how Sadhana also came about, to help parents and teachers know more about world of education and help spread this to little children who really will need it, especially post-pandemic.
So how do people who are interested connect with you or get to know about Sadhana, more about Sadhana?
We have a website. You can Google and see.
Okay. Maybe you could share it with us later, and AECD maybe will make it available.
Right.
Okay. A last question to you. As an advocate for good practices in early childhood, can you leave a message for all the listeners here who are,
It's simple. Like what I have been saying throughout our exemplary practices, let children be children. There is too much of stress around for them. So children need a very joyful, happy childhood and not grow up too fast. They need to cherish every day of being a child. And that is the main message. Being children is what they do best. Let's not load them with the stress of reading and writing. Let them play, let them connect with nature and be joyful, because that's what makes a very rounded, holistic individual in later life. And preschool is the right place for that.
Thank you so much.
Take this opportunity, Mahalakshmi, to thank.
The floor is now open for questions, Latha. We are not ready to let you go. So I think we have many questions that have come up. So
yeah, I just wanted to say a word of thank you to AEC.
Yeah, that we will do at the end before you answer the questions, and then you can say your thanks. Grishma, can I have you for the questions?
Sure. We do have a few questions. There was one question which was asking, up to what age can the Steiner method be used?
Apart from early childhood education, the Steiner schools generally go up to class 8. You can use a completely Waldorf philosophy, and class 8 becomes the bridging years for the 9th and the 10th, which then we will, most schools follow CBSE or IGCSE, and the bridging year is a very crucial year. We're not able to hear you, Grishma.
So sorry. Yeah. We do have one more question. They would like to know, how are the teachers prepared to teach? The
We do
teachers'
have
preparation, basically.
teachers' preparation for early childhood education. We already offer foundation courses, and the unique other practice is also about bringing parents into world of education, because they already feel the need for change and are looking for change in this direction. So yes, Sadhana offers courses, like I already said. We do train the teachers. In the grade school, whoever comes in with a holistic bent of mind, and prepared to accept the esoteric practices that we have in world of education, because they truly need to believe in change that they want to be. They truly need to understand the inner being of the child, so they have to start from scratch. And yes, there are foundation courses, a world of training courses happening, and it is something that is ongoing, both within and there are big schools in Hyderabad. Many schools have sprung up in India. We all work together. There are conferences that happen where teachers can come and train.
Is there any particular training that teachers need to take up, or this is again another question that was asked, so I thought I'll just put it to you.
Yeah, so in Advaya Shalai, what we do is we hire a teacher, and for 1 year, she is with the school, just learning the classroom practices, learning about the philosophy, also undergoing internal training. Then we have mentors always visiting from abroad. Now India has many trainings that is happening, and the Waldorf community at large gets together and we learn from each other. So that 1 year period is given for the teacher to train. And then it's ongoing journey. Every year you need to continue with learning. Never stops. I still attend trainings and conferences. Sorry, we can't hear you again, Girish.
I think, yeah, let me also look at this. There's one more that has come up, Latha. The state boards expect the students to know reading and writing. How are the children able to cope with that requirement when they go to standard 1?
See, again, we are the change ourselves. Many a times this question comes up with me, that at 6 is when you start reading and writing. How do we get admissions in different schools? So there are parents who just today leave and go to Australia and any other country abroad. And you will see that most places, in Finland, it is age 7. In most countries, it's age 6. And early childhood education does not do that much of reading and writing. And wherever parents have gone, there are parents who have left Prakriti and gone to Australia, gone to UK. And it is a matter of time. The child is very, very adaptable. When you can leave your country and adapt to a different climate, a different structure, a new school, what do? There is a transition phase. And in that transition phase, you learn their language, or you try and adapt yourself to the environment. Learning is similarly like that. When we know that in grade 1, this is going to, it just takes, when the rest of the things are in place, like imagination, cognitive skills, language skills, confidence, so important, self-confidence. Children can do ABCD in flat 2 months' time. I see it in the kindergarten, in grade 1. When our kindergarten children go, by the end of the year, they are able to do all the 4 processes of mathematics. They are able to read and write a passage by themselves. Delayed satisfaction leads to gratification. So they are dying to write. By the time they go when they leave Prakriti, we have never taught them. Our entry test to grade 1, we do have one in Advaya, is about the readiness. How is the child, is he able to follow instructions? If I tell him a story, how much of it he is able to replicate? How much of it he is able to draw and bring out the pictures? Can he hold the color pencil steadily and draw me a tree, a house, a chimney, whatever he wants? Fruits. That is what will lead to writing. So when these things are in place, that is really child's play for them. They do it like that. And they can write their name. I don't teach them. We just write their name in the drawing papers, and they'll say, "What are you doing? Is that my name?" Yes. So first the letters are all jumbled, and it goes in any order, but the letters of the name are there. The identity of the child. So he writes it like that. By the end of the year, from where I do not know, he's seeing the environment, it happens. He can count up to 100. It can be indifferent for, like all children, 100 things, 20 things. He does that. So learning is
like you said, readiness, when they are mature enough, they would learn it very, very quickly. We waste so many years teaching them the same thing again and again. Yes. So they will pick this up very quickly. Thank you for that, Latha. There's one more question. How do you instill the value of respect towards various type of occupations or the work of people in the kids, works of people in the kids?
See, this is another thing which I already showed in the video when we went to the Goshala. When they know, we don't mind. We have on Fridays a cleaning day. So Fridays before the school is shut, we sit and clean our whole school, and the children participate. Similarly, before a festival, the festival essence of festival is almost cleaning up the whole school and setting it up. They know parents are coming, our school needs to be clean. Then they take pride in this. And we do not allow them to treat the maids as a maid. So like I said, we talk to the maids in a very soft voice. We give them gifts. They are part of all of these. They are so loving towards the child. Using the magic words all the time, consciously as an adult. These things actually create the respect. Yeah.
Thank you. When you read out from storybooks in kindergarten, do children want to read too?
We never read out a story. Storytelling is a huge concept in Waldorf education. So we tell them the story. Of course, the parents read out the story. And it is the child's prerogative. When I said pre-reading skills, if the child picks up the book, holds it upside down and pretends to read, that is a reading skill. He reads pictures. He doesn't have to read words. He can read pictures, and that they do all the time. They can look at the picture and make up their own stories. Their drawings, every time it changes, the same drawing will have 10 stories. You have all experienced that. If we are aware that that is the pre-reading skill, then reading is already happening at their level. It's just that we want to hurry it down and have certain fixed ideas about what reading should be, and when we want to look at it, and when we push them to do that, it is difficult. So for me as an educator, I believe up to class 3, that is age 8, they can read. By that time, if the child cannot read fluently, then we know there is a problem and how we should. By then, you have already seen that the child will not be able to do other things. We would already be looking into it, but that much time can be given. Why should we say 1 to 100 should be finished in the first year? Learning is an ongoing process. If I cannot do numbers up to 1000 in class 2, I can do it in the month of May and come back to class 3. I don't have to cut off there. So that is a concept that we need to rethink as adults and as educators.
One more same, like what pre-writing and pre-writing activities are done? Can you give some examples of what you do at school?
So for us, we do not box it in Prakriti as this is a pre-reading skill, this is a pre-writing skill. We are using our body as a tool. So when they were making a raft, or for example, when they are playing in the sand, one sand play activity can be both for pre-reading and pre-writing. They take and they dig with their fingers, or they take a tool and they dig. They take and they put it, all the children have archetypal games. They fill something, empty it. They fill something, empty it. And there is a concept of full and half coming in. This exercise of pouring. Now, they are serving lunch. How much of balance to take that plate which has food, walk slowly and go and put it in the plate over the mat. And they're very particular. The mat has to be straightened, it has to be placed correctly. When children are not pushed, they see to it that these are happening. That itself is a lot of motor skills. When you're grinding the dosa, automatically the motor skills are happening. So you don't have to specifically go and do a activity for a motor skill. It's an ongoing process.
Informal activities which automatically lead to, help to strengthen
incidental learning, we can call it.
Yes.
Consciously also we do these finger knitting and finger crochet and sewing, which is all about the fine motor development.
Thank you, Latha. There's one more question. Since the approach is very different, how do children understand this esoteric approach?
Children don't need to understand. We don't go around telling children this is what we are doing. Like I said, they are children. They do what the adults. They are so loving beings who happily and unconsciously imitate you. So it just happens. You have to be there and practice it to know how this unfolds. And I've seen it. Our school is now 13 years old.
Thank you. Yeah. Another question, can you share some magic words you use? Which language is used?
It's the usual. Nothing, I said it is simple but profound. When I talk to Lena teacher, I have to say the same thing. Lena, would you please pass me this? Their ears are alert. And then thank you, Lena, for having given me this. I can give you an incident as an example. I was not in school, and it was in the early years of Prakriti. We had a very young unmarried teacher who is still working in a Waldorf school in the US. She was all of 22 years, and she during the story we have this fairy coming in to start off the story, and she just said, Lena, here, and she threw it to Lena, and Lena caught it. So I was not there at that time, and I come into the class later. So this child was waiting for me at the gate, and she says, Latha auntie, you were not there. The fairy was thrown. So where did she get this? The reverence, and the children teach you. So then I said, oh yeah, we have to. So Pavitra had to go and tell, okay, next time, consciously say, Lena, please, here is the fairy, take this. And Lena has to say thank you. So they teach you all this. So when we do that, it automatically unfolds.
They're so very quick to notice these things, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you. There is one about children with special needs. Early intervention and involvement is often used for children who have learning disabilities. How is that dealt with in Waldorf education practices? How are those children given support and inclusion?
We all try to be inclusive. So yes, inclusion also means you need to have a remedial section in the school. Otherwise, we do not do justice. So in Prakriti, what we did was for every 20 children, we would have one child. Like we see, there is minor autism. The spectrum is so wide, or dyslexia. In Advaya Shale, we also see that only when reading and writing happens, some things unfold. So it is not fair for the child also, nor the class teacher, to not be a specialist and still include. So we do take in one child for every 20 children and work with them. So up to grade 3, they seem to be very comfortable doing all that. Even up to grade 5, we can push them. But after that, they seem to need help, unless they are like really borderline cases, which the environment cures. We have had children coming without speech, and because of the environment, they start speaking. When you cut off the stress, the speech comes out. So yes, it is a constant thing, and it is left to the class teacher how she knows to handle. And if we cannot do justice, we say that to the parents.
Thank you, Latha. On what basis is the teacher recruited? What do you look for before hiring? Do you have any specific qualification that you look for? Or
Love for children, intrinsic love for children.
I think the
And the
attitude is
time,
what matters, no? I
attitude
always say that.
matters. Yes, attitude.
Skill and knowledge can be, I mean, you can teach it to anyone. Yes. Thank you so much. Yes. I think that's all. Our questions are done. So thank you so much, Latha, and all the members of the Prakriti family. It was beautiful watching what you and the children do at school. The 3 R's, reverence, rhythm, repetition instead of reading, writing, and arithmetic. Watching their inner beings unfold and come alive through play, songs, calming rituals, and celebrations. Thank you once again from the AECD team and everyone who's there in the audience on Facebook, watching you and listening to you. It was a pleasure having you here today. Thank you so much. And thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Mahalakshmi. Thank you to the Prakriti team. Thank you, everybody, for giving us this opportunity. AECD, I must mention Grishma. She's been very, very helpful with the technology part. I hope all of us work together and continue to work together for the young ones who are our future citizens. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Can I request all the AECD EC members to stay back and the Prakriti team to please stay back?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. The Facebook has to be muted.